Hi and welcome to my first video of 2021. I'm so excited to be filming this video and I hope you're equally as excited to be watching it. So it's such a blessing to be still around after 2020, which was really difficult. And of course, 2021 has started off on a rocky plane, so to speak, but that does not stop us from being hopeful and trying to incorporate some new habits into our lives. And so that's why I have decided to film this video where I am sharing with you 12 habits that would be a great idea to try to adopt this year. So stick around to find out more. I just realized I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Gamu. If you're here for the first time, welcome to the family. And if you're coming back, thank you for coming back. Africana Diary is about self-improvement, knowledge of self, just all the good stuff that you need to know to be the best version of yourself. So if you like that kind of content, do subscribe and click the notification bell so that you never miss out whenever I upload new content. Okay, so I've decided to focus on 12 habits so that you can have one habit that you focus on every month. I find it really effective to have one habit that you focus on incorporating per month rather than trying to incorporate a whole lot of habits, because you are probably going to feel discouraged and it's going to be like too much too soon and you're least likely to accomplish them versus just having one that you focus on per month. It is scientifically proven that for you to really have a habit ingrained into your routine and into who you are, you need to try to be consistent with it for 21 days. So yeah, why not give yourself a whole month to really just zone in on one habit? And to start us off, let's talk about the first one, which is to be intentional with self-discovery and self-development. I feel like there's so much great content out there on this subject. There's books, there's lots of videos, there's so many apps. And in fact, I recently discovered one that I absolutely love and it's totally free. It's called INTELLECT. It looks like this. I really love this app. I'll link it in the description and I recommend it to anyone who will listen. It's got lots of different little programs that will help you to focus on different aspects of yourself. So maybe if you struggle with procrastination or you struggle with having a low self-esteem, it's got a lot of stuff. So you can really just go on there and look at it and see what you can start to work on, and then you will continue that throughout the year. And by the end of the year, you realize you have actually dealt with so much stuff that you have really been procrastinating to deal with. I did the program on procrastination in December and I've really started to see a lot of changes in my life, which I am really enjoying. So yeah, I really encourage you to download it and just be intentional with your self-development and personal growth. And I think incorporating it as a habit rather than just an abstract idea of what you would like to achieve is way more effective in actually ensuring that you do take steps towards your personal development and your personal growth. The second habit is something you're probably so sick of hearing from so many people, but it is so important, and that is to drink more water and to be intentional with drinking more water. There are so many apps that are there that can help you with this, that can remind you when to drink water, that can kind of help you to keep track of how much water you're drinking. And yeah, drinking water obviously has so many benefits, including it may improve your memory and mood. It can help reduce sugar cravings and aid in weight maintenance. It improves your exercise performance, reduces headaches, prevents constipation, prevents kidney stones, and a whole lot of other things. Like if I was literally going to be talking about the benefits of water, it would probably need its own video. You can find so much information out there online if you would like to learn more, but try to incorporate drinking more water and being very intentional about how much water you're drinking. Think about it. If you try to do this for a month straight and you're very strict about it, it's going to be pretty much impossible for you to slip back into a habit of not drinking much water. And I think a lot of people are like me and have really struggled with staying on track with this. So this time I'm being extremely intentional. I'm using apps that I will link in the description that you guys can also try to use to help you keep track of how much water you're drinking. The third habit I want to talk about is cultivating gratitude. And I have spoken about this in a previous video on mental health, but I think it's so important to really be intentional with it and incorporate it as a habit of being grateful. And I think the best way to do this is to practice gratitude journaling. If journaling is still something new to you, you don't have to necessarily write a full page of what you're grateful for, even though that would be absolutely fantastic. Maybe you can start with writing a single thing every day at night or when you wake up that you are grateful for? I would say preferably at night, because then you've gone through the day and you can really just reflect and think of something you're grateful for. It improves your mental health, psychological health, your physical health as well, because just your mental health really influences your physical health as well. It also helps you to deal with anxiety, it reduces aggression, and it's been proven to improve your self-esteem as well as your sleep. But when you actually take time to reflect and you think of the small things that you are grateful for each and every day, it will really change your perception on life, and certainly your perception on yourself, your perception on the people around you and your environment, because you're really, some days maybe it might feel like you're reaching to try to find something that you're grateful for, but you're more than likely to always find something that probably you usually take for granted that you can now be intentional about being thankful for. Linked to this habit is journaling, which is the next habit I would encourage you to incorporate. I have done an entire video, in fact an entire series on journaling, which I will link up in the cards, but in there you can find out the benefits of journaling. I also give you journaling ideas, and I am planning on doing more videos on journaling, just giving more insights on things I've discovered and doing more plan with me type of videos. So look out for those, but I really encourage daily journaling. Overall, it's great for your mental health. It just helps you to be more present within yourself and to really be at peace with your mind, which leads me to the next habit, which is meditation. I used to really not believe people who would say meditation had such far-reaching benefits until I started doing it, and I've been doing it now for consistently, I'd say for a month, but I had kind of been trying to get used to the habit. The thing with meditation, it really does take practice, and the more you do it, the more you start to see the benefits. The benefits I have found with meditating include just being more present in the moment, being able to really live in a moment and appreciate a moment. I am more aware of what's going on in my body and in my mind. So I'm more aware of my thoughts. I'm more aware of triggers, things that trigger me to act a certain way or feel a certain way. And this then allows me to stop certain cycles from continuing. It's also such a beneficial thing to help you with stress relief and just dealing with stress in general. I love doing meditation rescue sessions, when I'm in the middle of working and I get, just my mind kind of feels fried. And then I just take a quick rescue session. It really helps. That just taking that moment to stop, to breathe, to relax really makes such a difference to how you function as a person. And so I really encourage you to get into meditation. 2 apps that I recommend for this are HEADSPACE, which I absolutely love, but you do pay a small fee for that. And then there's a free app that I discovered a few weeks ago called MEDITO. I will also link it in the description. It's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, another habit that I encourage you to incorporate is to try to sleep and to get up at exactly the same time every day. Having a set sleep schedule has so many benefits, including that you will be more productive, you're more aware of your eating patterns, which I think is a really good tip when you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to maintain your weight. It brings so much consistency to your day. Incorporating this habit will also help you to deal with insomnia, because waking up at a fixed time just grows the desire for sleep throughout the day. So by the time you actually sleep, you fall asleep much easier and much quicker. So yeah, this is definitely something I am going to be trying to do this year. And I know it's not hard. I mean, I know it's not easy because every day is different and every day has different things that you need to do, that you need to deal with. So it is quite difficult to try to sleep at the same time every day. What I would suggest and what I'm going to try is to keep it as realistic as possible. So don't try to sleep at 9 p.m. if you have been sleeping at 3 a.m., for example, because you are not going to fall asleep and you're just going to waste so much time tossing and turning in bed. So try to keep it realistic and try to incorporate the habit slowly but surely. So let's say you've been sleeping at 3 a.m. Maybe you could start to try sleeping at 1 a.m. And then when that's on lock, then you can try to sleep at midnight. You can do it incrementally and you will probably have more success doing it that way. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on how that goes for me. I have struggled with insomnia for quite a few years now. So yeah, I've realized that trying to keep my sleep schedule somewhat consistent does help me out quite a lot. If you actually have any solutions that have helped you deal with insomnia, do leave them in the comments below. I'd be really interested in hearing them out and maybe trying out a few more solutions. My next habit to incorporate is to read books that will teach you something and help with your character development. I feel like it's all well and good to read novels and to just read for pleasure, and I think that is absolutely necessary as a way to relax, but also be very intentional about reading books that will build your character and teach you something that you do not already know, or something that will help you to build on what you already do know. I am going to be trying to read one book a month. I tried to read one book per 2 weeks last year, and I didn't manage to do that, but I certainly did read way more than I ever would have had I not set that intention. So this year I'm just going to set the intention to read one book per month, and then yeah, I'll be sharing at the end of every month kind of my favorites from that month. So in that video, that's where I will be sharing on whatever book I've read for that month, so you guys can keep a lookout for those videos. So this month I'm actually rereading The Alchemist. I read it sometime last year, but I just felt like I had to go in again and just be more mindful when I'm actually reading it. I know it's a great book and I know I learned a lot, but I actually want to be taking notes and being intentional about learning from it. If you're also doing a reading list, please let me know in the description what you're reading for January. My next habit might sound a little bit unusual, but it's to practice random acts of kindness and be actually intentional about practicing random acts of kindness. I feel like practicing kindness is one of those things where you don't even really need kind of motivation of how you're going to benefit from showing other people kindness. It's just, it's nice to be nice. So just being actually intentional about being that. Maybe when you go to the grocery store or when you are taking a walk outside, just to be intentional about showing random acts of kindness to your family, to your friends, to a random stranger. It doesn't really matter as long as you're being kind. And I find that what you give comes back to you. So, and I mean, of course, that doesn't always apply because we're all flawed and we all have toxic traits and we all have, you know, bad sides. But if you're more intentional about being kind to the people around you, most certainly they will also reflect that back at you. The next habit that I would recommend is to try to spend more time in nature. I think it's very difficult, obviously, now with lockdowns and staying at home and stuff. Not everyone has the privilege of having a yard or whatever right by their house where they can just walk around. But even if you don't, I think most countries allow you to take a walk, and you should really take that up and practice just spending more time in nature, spending more time in the sun if it's summer where you are, and just really enjoying the outdoors. Again, just like with the kindness, it also has lots of benefits for your health, for your mood, for dealing with stress, and it also strengthens your immune system. So a lot of these things, I feel like even when I was looking into it, I didn't realize that they would influence my immune system. But I think just when you think about being exposed to fresh air and vitamin D and all those things, of course, it's going to have lots of benefits to your health. So yeah, spend more time in nature, be intentional about it, take walks, even if it just means sitting outside for 5 minutes a day to start. And I think working from home, it's tempting to just literally go from the desk to the bed to the couch to the dining table or whatever it is that your setup is like, and not go outside because you don't need to or you can't. So if you can, and if it's legal,
whoever thought it would be legal to go outside,
but if it's allowed in your lockdown conditions and that sort of thing, do take a walk, jog, do whatever it takes for you to spend some time in nature. The next habit that I encourage you to incorporate is having morning and night routines. Routines are really just key to helping you to change. And why this is so actually is because a lot of times when you're trying to incorporate new habits, the best way to do so is to stack your habits. You can actually watch a video I've done about habit building tricks and tips that you can kind of try out to help you to build habits that stick. But one of those tips is habit stacking. So it's like adding on a new habit onto already existing habits. And how do you have already existing habits that you can rely on? By having a routine. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. I am actually going to do another video on routines and different routines you can try and that sort of thing. So look out for that. But in the meantime, just try to have a set sequence in which you do things in the morning and then again at. Some benefits of doing this is it reduces anxiety because you kind of are more organized and you know exactly what you're doing when you're doing it. You have time. For example, for me, one of my activities in my night routine is to kind of have a brain dump where I just write down in my journal things that maybe have happened in the day or things that I need to do the next day and kind of just give a nice close to that day. And then I no longer have thoughts that are nagging me as I'm trying to sleep. I'm not feeling anxious anymore. And you just really have the chance to put the day to bed, as it were. And in the morning, I have managed to incorporate new habits by stacking and adding on to what I've already built in the past. So routines are really just so important in trying to have meaningful behavioral change. My next habit, which is kind of linked to having routines, is to be a planner and to get into scheduling. And I've spoken about this in previous videos, but really it's so helpful, especially to plan the day coming the night before and kind of have a plan of what you are wanting to do. It's more likely for you to actually accomplish what you have set forth when you have made a plan for it the previous day or first thing in the morning, so that you know exactly what you're doing and you can just get yourself into it after your morning routine. And I think something else actually that I forgot to say with the morning routine is it gives kind of a peaceful beginning to your day, no matter what time you wake up, no matter where you are, no matter what's going on. If you have a set routine of things you're doing, it kind of gives you a peaceful beginning to the day, and then you have a plan that you are going to follow, so you're really at peace, no anxiety, no stress, because everything has kind of just been laid out. My final tip for a habit to incorporate in 2021 is to be more intentional about personal care and grooming. And I think, again, because of lockdowns and being at home and stuff, it's very easy to kind of neglect yourself, and it can affect your self-esteem because maybe you're no longer looking your best or feeling your best and you're not really taking care of yourself. And I feel like in this point, that's where things like your hair care routine would go. That's where exercise would go. That's where eating healthy and being intentional about what you're eating goes. Cutting out sugar if that's what you're wanting to do. So just anything to do with taking care of your person, your being. Anything to do with taking care of your being, with grooming, with looking and feeling your best on the inside and on the outside. And I think something that's so important is to realize that the outside is really reflective of what you're putting into your body. If you want better looking skin, you have to be more intentional about what you're eating. You have to drink more water and you have to eat less processed food, less sugar. So that's just an example of how self-care, as it were, is really an inside out job. And of course, there is outward things that you can also do that can help you to feel your best. And I think something that's important here is to not so much try to incorporate someone else's self-care routine, but to really find something that works for you and to do things that are, I don't know, important to you. So it's like just figuring out what works for you, what makes you feel your best, what makes you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. And when you do good, the people around you also have a better experience of you. And you will also certainly feel better when you are taking better care of yourself. And that's something I definitely want to be more intentional with this year. I did kind of start that last year, where I was just kind of having a self-care Sunday thing, but I would want to incorporate more self-care, especially with the exercise and eating better. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. Remember to do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.